Hey guys, Void here from VoidTV, and today I'll be bringing you my very first video. Oh yeah, and it comes in the form of a prologue actually to a Skyrim, or more specifically a Skyrim Redone series. Now Skyrim Redone is a huge mod, I'm sure you've heard of it. Thousands and thousands of changes to the game, but we'll go over that a bit later, and we'll go over some of the other mods that I'm using. Now, you'll see in the my character creation in the background, the character I'll be playing is sort of like a Paladin class. He'll go heavily into one-handed, heavy armor, and restoration skill trees. That's simply because, you know, there's a lot of survivability there. I think it's quite a cool playstyle. I like that playstyle. I like having heavy armor because it just makes you an absolute beast. And especially in SkyRe. We'll talk about that later. As you saw, I went for a red guard. Red guards have a completely new skill set in SkyRe, or Skyrim Redone, because it changes all of the races, changes majority of their abilities. It's removed the initial red guard racials, and instead it gives them 50 extra stamina from the start. And I'll explain to you why stamina is so important in Skyrim Redone later on. And it also gives them a buff that they can give themselves, which slows time and gives them movement speed, which is great for those endgame boss fights where you're about to get chunked by a massive spell and you want to dodge it, or you just want to, you know, experience some cool slow-mo effects. You know, that's always a benefit as well. So as you can see, the footage that's going on in the background now is of me absolutely slaying some people in the first kind of escape from Helgen bit, and the reason I'm doing this in the prologue is because everybody's seen it before, you know, everybody's probably even played it before, and the game is very linear in this first maybe 15 minutes of gameplay. So I'm just kind of zooming through this, and I'll also be zooming through a bit of alchemy and stuff in the background. Don't panic, the reason I'm doing that is because I will be about level 5 when I start the playthrough, because from there we can really go off and do whatever we want in the game. Whatever we want to progress our character into what we want to be, and you know, the initial 15-20 minutes in the initial dungeons are just kind of preparation for that. Okay, so now let's move on to mods. The mods that I'm using, the primary mods that I'm using, which are the ones that will affect gameplay the most, are obviously Skyrim Redone, massive mod, basically made so many changes to the mod. It made the game almost brand new. You know, you play it completely differently to how you would before. I'll go over some of the changes that mod has made. Now, I've already touched on them, but I'll go over them in a bit more detail later on. Frostfall. Frostfall is a immersion mod that basically adds temperature to the game, and the temperature affects your character. So if it's snowing and you stay out in the snow for too long in not very protective clothing, like not very warm clothing, then you will get cold and you will get wet, and you will, the longer you stay cold and the longer you stay wet, you get debuffs to your character, debuffs to your combat, and you will eventually die. That's right guys, you will die. Also, it means you can't go through things like frozen lakes and just kind of shake it off. You will be shaking, but you will not be shaking it off, that's for sure. Excuse me. But yeah, so Frostfall can be pretty deadly. It requires you to set up camp in the middle of nowhere, so you can set up camp and set up a campfire and stuff with firewood when you're out in the wilderness slaying some beasties and zombies and all that jazz, which is cool. I kind of like that whole kind of like realism of it. I'm not particularly massive on the role-playing aspect of things, but I just like the fact that it adds an extra dimension of difficulty to the game. You know, before you go out adventuring, before you go out collecting materials even, you have to think about, right, have I got my warm clothing on? What's the weather like outside? Should I maybe sleep and wait till daytime when it's a bit warmer? But yeah, anyway, that's another mod. Another one is Climates of Tamriel. Now this one basically just makes the climates more extreme, makes the weather systems look cooler, makes the climates in general look cooler, as in like you know, the storms are more intense and clouds look real and all that jazz. It also changes the inside ambient lighting and stuff like that to make things feel more warm and things. Another one is Cloaks of Skyrim. Now this one synergizes nicely with Frostfall because if you equip a cloak, it actually adds to your protective nature. As you can see, I've got a cloak on in the footage behind. It actually adds to your protection of against the elements, which is really cool because A, cloaks look awesome anyway, and B, it allows you to survive outside a bit longer. So why not have that mod if you have Frostful installed? Here I am just stealing some stuff. Nice one. But yeah, and the next mod I have, the two mods kind of go hand in hand really. Immersive weapons and immersive armor. It just adds a whole boatload of different types of weapons to the game, a boatload of different armor sets to the game, and you know, what can hurt about that? There you see me waiting for the alchemist to come open, and here I'm doing some alchemy. I figured I would level some alchemy up in the prologue because it's always boring just sat there watching someone with their pestle and mortar, just kind of doing whatever, you know. Anyway, on to secondary mods. So secondary mods, I'm not sure if you noticed. I don't think I have a couple of them installed in this footage actually, but I have immersive HUD or iHUD. That basically hides the HUD when you don't need it, and you can toggle it on and off and things like that. Like, but yeah, it just makes for it, you know, adds a little bit more immersion. I've got race menu, as you saw back in character creation. That wasn't the regular character creation. That was all sliders and on one big screen, and that was quite cool. Added to, you know, a nice little speed increase and efficiency increase to character creation. And if I wanted to change my character halfway through in looks, then I can go ahead and do that. And Sky UI, the inventory you'll see me messing around with is Sky UI, and that just adds so much more organization. It makes the inventory so much easier and better to use. It's unreal. Okay, so now they're all the mods I'll be using. I will include links in the description below to the pages so you can download them for yourself. And you know, props to all the creators. They have amazing mods, and I love them, and that's why I'm doing this playthrough, to show you how much they affect the game and how great they are with the game. Okay, now I'll go over some of the main SkyRe changes. So the Skyrim Redone basically has a load of changes, but I'll just go over some of the main ones. Thousands of hours went into it. Massive props to the creator. I think it makes the game a lot more interesting, or at least, you know, after the first playthrough and you're looking for something a bit different, that's great. It's really good for those kind of people. So the first thing it changes, and the first thing you'll probably notice going into SkyRe, is the perks. All perks have been pretty much overhauled to an extent where they're pretty much all balanced, and the boring ones have been reworked or replaced to make them more fun. Now this is absolutely fantastic. Like, you know how sneak and archery, those kind of combined, made the game a complete cakewalk. And you could just like sneak, you could literally sneak into walk into somebody sneaking and they wouldn't detect you in late game. It's kind of ridiculous. But so they've balanced that out a bit. They've made some of the less interesting perks, such as alteration, they've made them much better. And they've made a reason for you to go into like heavy armor and two-handed weapons and all that jazz. They've made everything, every kind of build viable almost, pretty much, which is really cool. Like, you can sneak with destruction spells now, which is absolutely insane. Like, so you can have a sneaky mage throwing fireballs everywhere. Like, how cool is that? But yeah, that's basically the point of it, is to make a lot of builds more viable for the game, end game specifically. Because Skyrim Redone does focus a lot on endgame and, you know, having that prolonged gameplay experience, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion. The next change you'll probably notice is combat. Combat in the game is much harder and kind of more realistic, because, for example, if you go up to a guy with some huge fuck off mace and slam him one in the face, like, you'd expect him to at least fall back and take a significant amount of damage. But then vice versa, it works vice versa as well. So if some guy has a big fuck off mace and hits you in the face with it, you're gonna almost die. The combat basically is made more realistic, so you can't just take 20 arrows to the face and still be alive. Having said that, you know, combat bows specifically have been completely redone, so they do a lot more damage basically. They fire faster, I think, and but the armor that you're wearing also affects the damage that they do. So heavy armor, you can shrug off thousands of arrows because they'll just bounce off. You know, that heavy armor really is very good against arrows, which is another reason why I'm going into heavy armor on my character, because arrows, I hate arrows just getting picked off from a ledge and you can't do anything about it. But yeah, anyway, so that's another major change to the combat. Stamina as well is huge in combat in SkyRe. Stamina actually means something, and combat literally revolves around its use and how you use your stamina. It adds another massive tactical kind of element to combat. You know, you have to really tactically plan things out, which is pretty cool. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that the AI has been changed, so that mobs actually work together now much more than they would before. So they'll see you, and rather than kind of just bunching up in front of you, or you know where they came from, they'll surround you, they'll flank you, they'll hit you when you're staggered by another one. Like they'll make sure that they hit you, because in vanilla I found that, you know, mobs kind of spent a lot of time just kind of sitting there just going, hit me. You know, I'll just take some hits without trying to hit you back, which is kind of which was kind of a bit lame. But SkyRe changes that to make sure that they take advantage of every possible moment that they could kill you, and it makes the game a lot harder. You have to, you know, take into account whether you're outnumbered or not, because numbers are a lot of the problem now. But yeah, anyway, another big change is enemy scaling. So in vanilla it kind of was a bit of a cakewalk at high levels, because the enemies were just, you know, they were so much weaker than you. You had all these perks and abilities and insane damage, and they just kind of sat there and got one shot. But now enemies are higher level on average anyway, and they gain stats with each level, as opposed to just given stats and the stats are slapped on the mob. They actually gain stats per level, like you. I think it's 10 per level or something like that, which is pretty good. Also, bosses and high level mobs can now level to level 100, which is huge. You know, so high level mobs are can just crush you no matter what level you are. So they can equal your level at max level. And also thieves and random assassins also have a max level of 100, and they level up as you level up as well. These changes kind of go hand in hand with the zone changes. So the zones no longer scale with your level, and instead they just have a set level themselves. So often you'll walk into a zone, get absolutely destroyed, and just go, I'm not high enough level to beat this zone yet, and I'll have to go back and go away, come back another day, and when I'm a bit higher level, and then try and crush these losers with my enormous mace. So yeah, but at the same time, obviously the higher level the zone, the higher level the loot. So if you are Mr. Super Skills and happen to beat a zone before you were meant to, so you know the zone's higher level than you, then you could walk away with some sweet loot. And who doesn't want sweet loot? Everybody wants sweet loot. So that's cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The format of the videos will probably be about 20 to 30 minute episodes, and I'll probably cut out any running I have to do unless something interesting happens, or any combat happens. I will probably cut the running out. And as I said before, I'll be level 5 at the start of the series, just because everybody's seen the first 15 minutes of Skyrim. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment in the comment section to tell me what you think and how you're looking forward to the series. Also, if you have any advice for me, I'll be happy to take it, more than happy to take it. And so yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.
Freaks, I don't like it, just don't care.